Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have the LEGO Batman movie Series 2. 20 figures in the series, and they've got like 9 on the bag. So there's much you can't see there. The full pamphlet, is a typical pamphlet, 20 figures, has a little ad on the back, and shows you how to build 4 of the most complicated to build apparently figures. There are 20 figures, each one costs $4 or $3.99 in the United States, so that's a grand total of $80 for these 20 figures. Yeah, I mean, they're all relatively well detailed, but we'll take a look at each one individually. Beginning with the Friends or Family version of Harley Quinn. And this variant of the character appeared in the movie during the end credits, where pretty much all the characters appeared in a white disco outfit similar to this. I mean, she's a relatively important character as far as the villains go. She's probably second to only the Joker, and you might wonder why like Batman and the Joker and Robin and Harley Quinn. Not Harley Quinn, Batgirl, aren't in their disco outfits in this series. Well, they appeared in the Joker manner. So, this and the figure we'll see next are actually really just, accessories to them to, increase the number of Friends or Family figures that are out there, which I think is alright. Also, you'll notice every figure in the series comes with a exclusive to this series printed stand with the Batman logo, which is cool, but kind of makes me want to go back and get 20 more of these stands to go with the first LEGO Batman movie series. The legs are plain white, absolutely nothing special about them, but you can see she does have roller skates, mismatched colors, but they're gold and silver this time, which is kind of cool. The tutu piece is just reused from the first appearance on the ballerina in Series 15. And the torso print is good. I mean, it's kind of simplistic compared to some of the other disco suits, but it does have the arm printing on both sides and the back printing, and it looks alright. And her hairpiece is the same as regular Harley Quinn's in the LEGO Batman movie, and she does have 2 expressions on her face. I like this one with the winky expression. Friends or Family Alfred is next, and I think he is probably more important of a character in the movie than Harley Quinn is, so probably a little bit more desirable in this version. And I think that he's a really pretty well done figure. The guitar print that he comes with is the same one. It's just a reuse of the Gongin and Guitar Rockers guitar from the LEGO Ninjago movie series. It's a cool print, but, I would have preferred something a little bit more unique to Alfred here. And the legs are, again, completely unprinted, but this time Alfred has the coattails with this cool sparkly pattern on there. I think that that's a pretty cool addition to the figure. And it does carry through the torso, the sparkly design. And as tuxedo is cool. It's got some good metallic gold on there, which I like a lot. I mean, Harley Quinn had a little bit of that with her little bow tie, but I think that the extra gold here really helps him out. And the bow tie piece is the same as all other versions of Alfred from the LEGO Batman movie, and so is the hair piece. The face print, though, is exclusive with those sunglasses that are gold and metallic silver. From Alfred, we move on to one of the villains, and this is one of my favorite figures in the series. I'll let you know that right off the bat. This is the Clock King, and he is a appropriately ridiculous supervillain. You notice he has 2 spear pieces, and those are to represent the hands of a clock. I think that that's a cool inclusion. It would have been amazing if one of the spears was shorter, because, could have represented the, hour and minute hand, but I don't have a problem with the way that they were done here. He does have this clock symbol printed all over his torso and legs, and you'll notice they have the hour and minute hands in different places. They're not just the same logo copied over. I think that that's fantastic. You'll notice this green is a little bit off-colored because it's printed on blue. So maybe they could have done that a little bit more opaque, but it doesn't bother me too much. You'll notice he even has the arm printing. The cape is a papery material, but it feels a little bit different than, the older. It's not as crinkly, but still crinkly, if that makes sense. And no back printing because the cape covers it. And his headpiece is the Gingerbread Man headpiece from Series 11 originally, except completely in blue, no different color for the center. And you'll notice the indentations for the eyes that the Gingerbread Man had are now used as little holes so that you can see the gears inside the clock, and the clock face is printed on the back side of what the original Gingerbread Man's head would have been. So overall, I think this is a brilliant figure. And then we get Hugo Strange, who I guess is supposed to be a relatively popular-ish villain in DC Comics, or at least somewhat prominent, because everyone was really happy to see that he was in the series, and they, were pretty much expecting him to be. Like, they figured, oh, he was in the movie, he has to be made in a set. I'm not sure I 100% get it, but he's not a bad figure. The two colors of little vial pieces that he gets have already been used in previous figures. Mr. Good and Evil for the purple, and the original Crazy Scientist from Series 4 for the green. The dual molded legs are good. They can be used for any sort of crazy scientist, or just scientist in general, I think. So that's useful, I guess. And the torso print also has nothing super specific to Hugo Strange, again, just basically a lab coat. No back print. And the face print is pretty much the only Hugo Strange specific thing we've got here, as well as that beard, which was used on the Prospector. I believe it was light gray on the Prospector, but it could have been dark gray, and maybe I'm wrong. But it is that beard that originated the mold with Wily Fusebot from the Lego movie. And there is pretty much nothing that's hidden by the beard. So, it's an alright figure. Then we have the Merbat, which is one of the appropriately ridiculous Batman costumes in the series, of which there were only two, which kind of makes me a little bit mad, because the Batman suits were one of my favorite parts of the original Lego Batman movie series. So I was hoping that if we're going to get a second one, which I thought was unnecessary, we'd get some cool new bat suits, and we got this, which I actually don't really like as much as most of the previous ones. The Trident is cool, I guess, in this black color, originally used on the Devil Suit Kid from Series 16. The legs are this mermaid tail piece, which is it's not the newer one that they've used for all of the collectible minifigure mermaids up until now. This one originated with the Pirates theme in 2009, I think. Or Pirates of the Caribbean, I mean. Well, both Pirates of the Caribbean and this, I think. I'm not 100% sure on the origins. The torso print is basically like a chest that's relatively standard, but with a bat belt printed on there and the two seashells, which is kind of goofy, and that's probably the funniest detail on the figure. The face, I think that's been used in other sets. I could be wrong, and there's no alternate expression, but it works with the standard Batman cowl. And here's another bat suit. So, this is the only other one that appears in the series, and it's very similar to the Vacation Batman from the first series. This one comes with a dolphin, which is an obvious draw. This is the same dolphin that appeared in Fun at the Beach. It's a good mold and really good to get in a $4 set, so, can't complain too much. Do have a plain, just bare chest torso. Both sides have printing, and you don't get stuff like this too much. In fact, I'm not sure if there's another one that is just a completely bare chest, so this would be useful for other flesh-toned figures. And he does get the lifeguard piece from originally Series 2. The goggles are the same color as the Vacation Batman from the first series, which is a little bit disappointing. The print on the legs is new, and the face print underneath, I believe, appears in other sets as well. And what kind of disappoints me is that they didn't include a Bruce Wayne face like they did with the other Vacation Batman, because you don't need to see the eyes. So, you know, I mean, they could have done that because it would have been a little bit more interesting than just more Batman cowl faces that aren't really useful outside of this context. And then we move back into the interesting figures with Tropical Joker, and the Tropical Joker, or Vacation Joker, is a pretty well-detailed figure. He's got a camera accessory and an ice cream popsicle accessory. His hair is standard Joker hair, you know, as usual. And his face has some pink sunglasses and a big smile. And then there's another face, which is just a little bit different, and a closed-tooth smile instead of an open-tooth smile. The little duck is the same mold as the Vacation Batman from the first series, but this time it's green and has a little bit of a weird face and a patch printed on there, which is kind of neat. And if we take that off, though, you can see the Joker's torso print, which is pretty cool because it is kind of a reference to the Killing Joke. This is the shirt that he wears in an important scene that I'm not going to explain for reasons. And he's got a little bit of arm printing with the 4 suits on either side. That he does also have similar printing, obviously with a different color dual molding, in the regular Lego Batman movie sets, and he's just got sandals printed on his dual molded legs. And here's Vacation Robin, and he is another one of, you know, the 5 Vacation figures in the series. He does get an ice cream cone accessory, as well as this boombox piece, which is the same printed design as a Series 3 wrapper, which would have been nice to get something new, but this piece, or this particular print, hasn't been in production for, like, probably 6 years, I think. So, you know, I mean, it's not the easiest thing to get, so I'm okay with them re-releasing it. The leg print is a good little bathing suit. The R logo doesn't bother me there, because, you know, you could still reuse these pretty easily. I will note that on my hips it seems to be aligned downwards a little. I don't know if that's intentional, but those are very, very close to the edge. And they are dual molded, so, you know, printing all the way around. The torso print has some Robin logos on his shirt. I think that it's a nice tropical Hawaiian-y shirt. And the goggles are looking straight forward, which I don't know if we've actually gotten straightforward looking goggles for Robin. So those might be new here. I don't have all of the Lego Batman movie Robins, so I can't particularly say. But I will say that these are more useful than the Dimensions one, which is looking up and off to the side. And that face print has a nice, confused, surprised expression, and there is no alternate face. Vacation Batgirl has a, you know, decent look to her. It's similar to her Batgirl costume at first, actually, which is a little bit interesting. She does get a surfboard with a printed Batgirl logo, and the mask is obviously the same piece. Underneath, though, we do have a good facial expression, no back print on the face. It's on a purple head, but they actually did a really good job printing that opaquely. Normally I wouldn't point that out, because that should be expected, but we've got, like, Lady Iron Dragon issues, so, you know, glad to see they don't carry into this particular figure. The torso print is good. I like the gunmetal gray printing on there, which works pretty well. And there is a little bit of printing on the back as well as a zipper. And she does have a bat belt accessory. And the printing on the legs, which are dual molded, by the way, but the printing on the legs is pretty good. And it does continue onto the hips, even though you can barely see it because of the bat belt and dual molded. Vacation Batman is kind of funny, simply because of the old-timey bathing suit, which reminds me of Klimpaloon from Phineas and Ferb, so, you know, might remind a couple others of you about that. And we've got a drink here, which has some cherries, which can get annoying if you're transporting these and you knock them over, because it'll fall out, probably, but not always, I guess. The face print is actually really good for people who didn't buy the Batcave or Ultimate Batmobile, because this is the only way to get a normal, or the cheapest way, by a long shot, to get a normal Alfred expression from the Lego Batman movie, and I think that that's a good face print. And he also has the hair and the same bow tie as Disco Alfred. The torso is just basically striped. Looks kind of like a prison jumpsuit, but Alfred's not a bad guy, so, you know. And we have dual molding on the legs, as well as printing, which continues all the way around at the side. You'll notice a little bit of misalignment there. Not going to happen to everyone, but happened to me, so, you know. And this right here might just be the best figure in the series. I know earlier I said that in the first Lego Batman movie series, one of my favorite things was all the crazy bat suits. And when we got the original list, or I forget what information exactly we had, but, you know, it said only 2 bat suits. And then I realized, wow, this is in the series. And this is the soccer mom Batgirl from when Batman was shooting her with the merch gun to try and get her the Batgirl costume. And this is one of the things that appeared in the movie for like 2 seconds, but it was absolutely hilarious, and it's amazing to get here. We've got 2 accessories, which are the same, and they're printed bat bucks, which are kind of funny. And we've got this new cowl hood piece. It's just got the ears on it and printed Batman symbol, which is off-centered, so, you know, but that's intentional. And the face print is good. It's got like a little mask, and it does have an alternate face where she's smiling, kind of smiling. And the torso says Batman Fan Club. You could use this as like just any sweatshirt on a random figure. We've got the stripe printing on one arm, no back print because the cape covers it, which is a short cape, by the way. So, you know, not just the same as standard Batman capes. And I don't know if we've gotten a short Batman cape. Actually, probably in the Mighty Micros Batman, never mind. And we've got #1 Batfan printed on the other arm, so the arm printing is different. And you'll notice that on the legs, we've got the printing #1 Batfan and the stripes. So, but they're on opposite sides of the arms, which I think overall this is just a really, really well executed figure, and one of the most interesting in the series to me. And we move from there to Killer Moth, who is a cool villain figure, I guess, but I think that this would have been a whole lot more interesting if we didn't have the Scarecrow Harvest of Fear Killer Moth, which is cooler, and the Mighty Micros Killer Moth, which is practically the same thing as this. But, you know, I mean, I guess for what it is, it's not bad. And I do really appreciate his accessory here, which is the Retro Spaceman's gun blaster in pearl gold. The torso print, though, is, again, very, very similar to that Mighty Micros version. And he does have orange wings, which I believe were in that Mighty Micros, but I could be wrong about that one. And there is back printing on the torso underneath there, which I guess is a nice touch for such a simple, kind of reused feeling figure. And the face print that this guy gets is not bad. I mean, this is probably the most unique part because it's not wacky and goofy like Mighty Micros. The headgear piece is actually exactly the same as the Mighty Micros version. It is the Bumblebee girl from Series 10, just recolored in lime green. And the leg print is alright. I can't help but feel like this should go further down. The red printing, that's mainly just because, you know, on most figures it does, but, you know, it's not like it was designed to and had to on this figure. And you do also have the lime green stripe printing that goes around both sides of the legs. So, you know, it's not a bad figure and has some appropriate detailing on there, but I can't help but feel that it would have been more interesting to see something else here in this slot. And then we have the Wonder Twin, Jaina, one of the Wonder Twins, which the other one is included in the series you'll see next. So the accessories here I think are pretty cool. We have a record which has no printing on there to make it specific to anything. So it's just a generic record, and I think that that's cool and would be nice to have multiples of. And this Party Songs playlist for the Justice League Anniversary Party, which is also cool to get. The torso print is good. It is gender specific, which makes it different than, you know, the other one that we'll see in a second. And it's got the J kind of in that triangle for Jaina, which is her name. And it does have dual molded arms and some back print on there. and the legs are dual molded and have some good printing. I kind of wish that they carried that yellow line across the sides, but they didn't. I don't think that ruins it. And the collar is a little cloth piece, which looks pretty good, and her face print is nice, and she has the elf's hair from Series 3, recolored in black with flesh printed ears. While Zan has the same exact hair piece and collar piece, he has a different print for his facial expression, which, looks a little bit odd to me. He's got a Z printed in that triangle, and it looks a little weird. His accessory is a bucket, which has a printed 1x1 round tile, which is supposed to be him, because apparently he can turn into water or something. I'm not exactly sure, who the Wonder Twins are. They first appeared on the Super Friends TV show, I believe. And there's back printing for him, as well as the dual molded arms, and leg printing, which I believe is exactly the same as Jaina's. At least at first glance. This figure here is named Apache Chief, and he also appeared on the Super Friends TV show with Zan and Jaina. And I believe he's supposed to be a hero character, so, good guy, which I guess is nice to get more of in the series. His accessory is a printed 1x3 tile, and it has him with the Wonder Twins monkey, which appears there, and that's a little weird because the Wonder Twins monkey didn't make it into the series or any of the sets, which is kind of unfortunate, but, it's still a decent accessory to get. The face print is nice. It's a relatively generic flesh-colored, well, I guess not flesh, but, darker flesh-colored face, which is, not the most common thing to see. His hairpiece is the same as the gong and guitar rocker from the Ninjago movie series, just like that guitar, so he practically reappears here. The back print on the torso is very simplistic, and there is some printing on the arms, again, rather simplistic, but, he does kind of have a simple vibe going, because he's supposed to be like an Indian, or Native American Indian character, so, we don't get many of those in fleshy variations. I think most recently we had the Lone Ranger theme, but that's been gone for years. So, this would be useful to add on to that, even if you're not a superheroes fan. And there is some good printing, as well as side printing on the legs, but they're not dual molded. This version of Jor-El, again, appears for 30 seconds in the movie, probably, but he comes with a Kryptonian crystal, which Batman is busy destroying, as we see this character in the movie. And this character actually looks a bit like the 80s version of Superman, the 80s Superman movies. It looks like that version of Jor-El, or maybe it was 70s, I'm not sure. I wasn't around then. But, I've heard that from various sources, and I think because of that, it's a relatively cool minifigure for certain DC Comics fans to get. The hairpiece is Superman's hair in white, which we haven't gotten ever. His face print is good. The black bushy eyebrows are a little bit odd to me. And he also has this armor piece in silver, which I believe is a brand new color for that, and printed 1x1 tile in white with the Superman logo. So that's cool. And there are bar attachments on the back of this piece. No back prints on the torso, but there is some good print hidden by that piece on the front side of the torso. Superman logo in black, or the House of L logo actually, but that print that goes all the way down through the slope piece is pretty nice and intricate, and I really kind of like the pattern there. I love newspapers in the LEGO minifigures line, and this is probably the best one. Kneel before Zod in polls. Candidate Neil wins on platform. Will not enslave humanity. That's just a fantastic pun, I think. So, pretty cool. I like that accessory a lot. And the rest of the figure is not bad. He has a new color for the Peter Venkman hair, and black this time. And the front facial expression is good. It's got the beard. And the backside, he's a little bit angrier, and he's got red eyes, because laser vision. And the torso has a General Zod logo, which is good. And there's good printing on the arms, actually, which is a little bit surprising to me when I first opened the figure. They did a great job printing that flesh color at actual, regular opacity. You can barely tell the difference. If you look really closely, you can see that's just a tad darker. I don't think it comes across on camera at all. So, you know, it's pretty good. I'm actually very impressed with that, because Lady Iron Dragon problems. And it is printed on black, so, you know. The silver goes down through the hip piece, and I think, you know, overall, it's a pretty decent print for the clothes, but the highlight for me is definitely that newspaper. Dr. Phosphorus is a character I didn't know I wanted, but I absolutely love this figure. Similar to the Clock King. He's a pretty ridiculously transparent-ish looking minifigure. Reminds me of the skeleton costume boy from the Series 14, and I like that. I wish it was glow-in-the-dark or translucent plastic, but either of those would have been a little bit harder for them to make, so I appreciate the spring green, and it's still very bright and stands out. The flames, I believe, are new in this color. I could be wrong. And the leg print is also pretty good. He's got the little ripped jeans, I guess, maybe. I don't know exactly what kind of pants these are supposed to be, but this does look pretty good. I do wish they were able to print that gap a little bit closer down, but that's, if you haven't noticed how most legs are, there's just no printing below that line. I don't know if there's any exceptions to that rule, but, you know, I mean, at 99% of the time you won't see anything lower than that. And I also would maybe have liked to see a little bit of printing on the back of the head, but there is some really good printing on the sides of arms and legs. Black Canary here comes with an interesting built-up accessory, actually, of a microphone stand, which I think is actually a really good-looking build for that. You can't really stand it on, you know, the plate because it is just at the base a dish piece, and you can't really attach dishes unless you have another stud. So I maybe would have liked to see a hollow stud included so you could put this down on the base plate, but she is meant to be able to hold it, which she can hold it in a pretty good position. And, you know, it's nice to get more microphones, always. The torso and leg print, you know, are both pretty good. Leg print has some really fine detail going around to the sides that lines up pretty well. The torso print is good. I've seen people complaining that it's a little bit too light. I don't mind it. You know, I think that it's good. And the back print is, you know, kind of there. And the best part of the figure, for many people, is this face, which, you know, looks relatively generic. Until you turn it around, and you have this awesome, like, singing face, or, you know, I mean, whatever it is she's doing. She could be screaming into the microphone, and I think that that just looks, you know, pretty, kind of goofy, but still a usable face. And the final figure is Black Vulcan, not a speedster, even though the helmet kind of reminds me of that a lot. The accessories here are transparent yellow lightning pieces, which are cool to get, and they are brand new to this figure. The leg print is, you know, good. It's got some dual molding as well as a little bit of printing on the sides. And the torso print is good. That yellow doesn't look to be exactly the same yellow. It looks to be a little darker, but it's not bad, and you could almost assume it's supposed to be that way. And, you know, the boots are just a different color, because that does also carry on to, the color difference also carries on to the mask. There is some back printing, before we look too closely at the mask. And on the mask, it is the same as the comics version of the Flash in mold, but this one has some printing down the top, and it's in black, you know, with the yellow printing. And underneath, he's got his face, which looks pretty cool. It's got a little mask, and you got the white that shows up through the cowl piece. So overall, there's 6 major groups of figures we get. We got the vacation group. We've got several, you know, superhero characters that are relatively obscure and mainly from, you know, Super Friends and Origins. We've got the 2, you know, 70s or 80s Superman characters. We've got 2 Friends or Family characters and 4 relatively obscure and goofy-ish villains. I think that of all of these groups, I really appreciate the costumes because, you know, that's just me personally. A little bit disappointed by the mermaid, but, you know, we can ignore that. The tropical characters aren't bad, but I feel like they were a little bit unnecessary. I appreciate the Superman characters a lot, actually, more than I was expecting to. Friends or Family are basically an add-on to the Friends or Family characters that appear in the Joker manner. The obscure villains are really good, and I would have liked to see more of them, I think. And the Super Friends characters, if you're aware of who they are, they're probably cool. And it's nice to know that you have some more superhero characters to use with the other superhero stuff. But, you know, they don't do as much for me either, so... The two biggest groups here, actually, are two of my less favorite groups, and I would have liked to see more characters like these, even though I don't know what else you could do with those. I just really appreciate those. More costumes and more of the obscure villains. I actually was pleasantly surprised by this series. I was not looking forward to it because I don't think we needed another Lego Batman movie series. I still would have been completely fine if this was never released and we got a different series in its place, but I'm not upset that I went out and bought all of them. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this review. I do think that, again, you know, minifigure series are generally always good, but definitely there are some standouts and some that are just mediocre. I don't think there's any in this series that are awful. But personal favorites would include the Clock King, Dr. Phosphorus, Soccer Mom Batgirl, and maybe Tropical Joker. And Black Vulcan actually surprised me a lot. And obviously, these two are really, really nice. The rest are, you know, give or take. If you like them from looks, you know, you're not going to be disappointed by any of these in person. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little series review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.